This is The Clash, where the real world clashes with a true Christian worldview. Join former professional wrestler Chris Whaley, known as the Masked Saint, who is an author, pastor, and teacher that brings his wrestling skills into the squared circle and tackles real-life issues. Along with Jeff Dixon, best-selling author, internationally known teacher, leader, and pastor who is not afraid to tackle the tough issues of the world we live in. Together they form a tag team of wisdom in The Clash.
Hi, welcome to The Clash, where we take a Christian worldview and allow it to clash into the culture around us. Now, when it's done, we hopefully will educate, entertain, and encourage you in your journey of faith. And we appreciate so much you watching us and being a part of this. I'm Jeff Dixon. I'm one of the hosts. I'm joined by Chris Whaley. And Chris, good to see you. And here's what I think a lot of our audience knows, that you've done something and I've done something that everybody thinks they can do. Mm-hmm. They can write a book. Mm-hmm. Now, you tell me, how, you've written not just one book, though. You've written multiple books. How does that work for you? What is your process? Is it easy? Is it hard? How's it going?
Yeah, Jeff, it always starts for me with an idea.
Okay, just a single idea.
I get this idea, and then I just kind of let it cook in my brain for a while. Let it cook, and every now and then, when I get that pad, I'm still old school. I just start writing things down, and then it just kind of grows into that process of, okay, this would make a good chapter. That would make a good chapter, and I just start putting it all down, and then one day get all those notes, put them in order, and start going.
Okay, you type it yourself though? You beat it out?
Yeah. Okay. Now, how's it? You, my friend, are a best-selling author, and
that gets you.
have written more than twice as many books as I have. Yeah. How does it work for you?
It pretty much the same way. You get an idea and you let it just kind of sit in the back of your head and you hold on to it. Mm-hmm. And then at some point you realize, okay, I've got a little bit of a window here. Can I develop this idea a little bit more? And it starts to kind of resonate. And I don't get out a legal pad, but I'm a journaler. So I'll grab a brand new fresh journal, crack the cover open on that thing and just start making notes, very similar, of ideas, concepts, scenes, character, and then eventually kind of start outlining it a little bit before I ever start typing it. And that tends to...
And you type it yourself?
I do type it myself, yeah. I'm a self... I had typing in high school.
I did, yeah.
Where they had no letters or numbers on the keys. You remember that?
Yeah.
And so you would do that, and of course, I have no idea what I typed in high school. I was led by the Holy Spirit, and you had to have an interpreter. But later on, I could start looking at the keys. I started with 2 fingers, and I can use them all now. It's pretty interesting. It's my own style. I call it the Jeff method. But
the Dixon style.
Yeah,
there you go.
But I beat out the book and then let it run. So it's interesting. Now, are you working on anything now? You got anything going on?
Yeah, I've got a couple things.
Yeah,
a couple
any sneak previews you want to tell us about? We're sitting here.
I'm actually working on a sequel to my Christmas book, Harold's Heavenly Christmas. I'm working on a sequel for that, and it's got wrestling in it, so. Okay. Makes it more fun to write when it's got wrestling in it.
Will we see it this Christmas?
No.
Okay.
No. I've
got way down the road yet.
Yeah, down next Christmas.
Next Christmas.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Yeah, that'll be great. Next Christmas.
But you're working on it right now.
Yep.
Sneak preview right there.
How about you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got 2 in the works.
Oh,
in
really?
the Disney series, right? The Dixon on Disney series. I got 2 in the works right now. One is the sequel to the last novel, the full novel I wrote, called Saving the Magic Kingdom, because while people really loved the book and they were encouraging, they kept saying that had to be the worst ending I've ever read or anything you've ever written, because there were so many things left undone. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Probably another episode we can talk about that. So I'm actually writing and I'm wrapping up all those things. So if you read the book and you didn't like the ending of it, hang on, one day, someday, there's a sequel coming.
Yeah. Very good.
But I'm also writing another Christmas novella.
Oh, okay.
I've released 2. This one will probably be out by Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Where the characters have found, you'll love this, a piece of the original manger from Bethlehem.
Really?
Yeah. Called
That's
The Cradle
awesome.
of Hope is what it's called.
Wow.
That's not the book's name, but The Cradle of Hope is what that relic is called.
Wow.
And so, as you can imagine, that's a pretty valuable,
Yeah.
high energy. So it becomes an action adventure Christmas novel. It's not Die Hard, but it's fun.
Yep. You read any good books lately?
I have, and I'm reading right now the new Dan Brown book, Secret of Secrets. He wrote Da Vinci Code, which I thought was wildly entertaining and incredibly blasphemous. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the book, and it led to a sermon series for me, so it was great. But and the Secret of Secrets is dealing with human consciousness, which is really a fascinating. I mean, I like the fact that he makes me think, and he doesn't write from a Christian perspective. So I'm listening to it, trying to figure out, okay, but this has some spiritual connotations. I mean, this guy's kind of knocking on the door of heaven. I'm not sure he's going to get kicked across yet, but he's saying some stuff that's pretty interesting. So I'm reading that right now.
Good.
What about you?
Well, I've got one I have read.
Okay.
Last week we interviewed Marc Mero,
Yeah.
and we had so much with Marc that we've actually got another one tonight.
What?
And
Mark's back?
this is that book,
Oh,
Marc
man.
Mero. It's Bad to Good, the inspiring story of a wrestling wild man.
But that book is a special book.
Yes.
Because you're the only one that can have that book.
Yeah, it's got
Look at
his,
that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, and it's not just an autograph.
Yeah.
He wrote you a letter.
Yeah.
He wrote you a book in a book.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Well,
He is.
since he did that, I think we ought to have him back.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do another with him
Okay.
right now.
Guys, we are excited once again to continue a conversation with Marc Mero, great friend of The Clash, great friend to you as our audience. And so let's jump in.
Okay.
Chris, I was just sitting around wishing I had something good to read during the Christmas season. You got any suggestions for me?
I have. It's called Harold's Heavenly Christmas.
Wow.
And it's a book that I wrote, and yeah, I'm still hoping that it's going to be on Movie of the Week, and script's already been written for it. So just a feel-good, great book. If you like to watch those Christmas movies, you will love Harold's Heavenly Christmas.
Okay.
It's about a firefighter who dies and becomes. If you like It's a Wonderful Life, Harold is the new Clarence.
Wow. All right. Well, thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah.
And why don't you take that one too? Harold's Heavenly Christmas, and enhance your Christmas holiday reading. Mark, in the book, you mentioned this a minute ago. You talked about the good, the bad, the ugly with relationships and people that you didn't always get along with. After the book comes out, and some of these folks read it. And of course, Bischoff wrote part of the did a piece for you in the book. But what was the reaction that you got from some of the folks that you mentioned in the book and stuff like that after they read it, or did they read it? I mean, did they reach out to you and say, "Hey, I read about the book," and then what was the reaction you got from them because they were in it?
Every one of them has actually reached out or said something really kind to me about it. Thanked me for including them in the book, which I was blessed to hear. Mick Foley, when I see him at autograph sessions, I tell you something, we become really good friends. In other words, when I say good friends, like he's a guy that I'll just go up and give a big hug to, man, and we didn't always get along back in our day, and he was very spiteful of me for getting the first guaranteed contract in the WWE. It was very difficult for me when I first started because remember, him and Stone Cold Steve Austin signed just months before I did, and they only got an opportunity. They didn't even get a contract, not a guaranteed contract. And when I came in, I got this big guaranteed contract, signing bonus, got to bring my wife along with me. I got all this fanfare. And so it rubbed a lot of people wrong. But realizing now, these guys, that I broke the glass ceiling. I opened the door for everybody to get a guaranteed contract.
Yeah. Well, the book covers highs and lows, from fame to personal losses. If you could go back and give advice to your younger self during those wild man years, what kind of advice would you give to yourself?
Well, first of all, stay away from drugs, man. It just takes away the person you are. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how popular your charisma, whatever it is. Drugs just destroys everything, and it took away so many years of my life that I will never get back. And that's one thing I'm now 23 years clean now, and it's the greatest feeling to live clean and be happy and just help other people. There's no greater joy than helping other people. The greatest commandments God gives us is love God and love people. And that's what I do.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, in the book, I mean, everyone that watches wrestling, I mean, they understand, I say everyone. I think most people that watch wrestling understand you're developing characters and there's a persona that you are on the screen. So I was reading the book, one of those things in the back of my mind is I kept asking myself, so how much of Marc Mero were we actually seeing in the ring? I mean, how much of that personality was like really, really you at that time? And then how much were you going over the top and kind of creating this persona that was larger than life in the ring?
Well, Johnny B. Bad was way over the top, okay? Here's this kid from New York that was a Golden Gloves fighter is not going to go up to a microphone and say, I'm so pretty, I should have been born a little girl.
Well, we're back to the precious thing again, right?
There wasn't many times I'd say, I'm so outrageous, it's contagious.
Well, but the thing is, I got to give you props, though. You sold it, though, and that's the thing, right? That's your job, and so you did it.
That was what was so fun about Johnny B. Bad, because he was so opposite of me, the character over the top, and it was fun to play that character. And out of all the characters I did play, Wild Man, Marvelous, or Johnny B. Bad, Johnny B. Bad was definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, as a motivational speaker through Champion of Choices, and I love your organization, Champion of Choices. For those of you who don't know, Mark goes into hundreds of schools. You cut it down, so you probably only go into 150 schools a year now as opposed to 250. But he goes into schools and shares with them. Well, how did that experience influence the way you possibly framed the book's message of resilience and purpose? Did Champion of Choices kind of enter into the way you did the book?
In a sense, Chris, it's the same message that I bring to schools about, overcoming adversity and not giving up and, don't holding things inside. When we hold stuff inside, it's like a volcano. And Chris, sooner or later, that volcano erupts, and it awfully erupts into negative behavior. So I get kids to talk about it. Open up, talk to a trusted adult, talk to a counselor, talk to your parents, but don't hold things inside. And that was a mistake I made. I held in so much inside, which built anger, resentment, and bitterness, and it eventually explodes. And then next thing you know, you're doing drugs, you're hanging out with the wrong crowd, and it says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, don't be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. And I just take that and say, your friends are like elevators. They either take you up or they take you down.
Sure. Right.
If you were to describe, and of course this may be tough because there's a lot of themes you've got running in the book there. What do you want your readers to take away from the book? If you were to say this is a book about boom, what is that word?
I would say resilience. Obviously I didn't give up. There was times that I felt like I was at rock bottom, and I wrote about that in my book when I basically just got on my, the tallest I ever stood was when I got down on my knees and asked Christ into my life. I hit rock bottom, and then I realized that rock bottom had a basement. Okay. And, I was there. But it really is resilience. And I think everyone has resilience in them. And I want them to know just not to give up. And I think that's where I've really been able to help a lot of people.
Well, let me just carry on that just a little bit more. Faith and overcoming adversity are central themes in your book. But I wanted to ask, how has your spiritual journey shape the narrative, and what role did it play in your real life triumphs?
Well, obviously, Chris, through prayer and just, reading and trying to live a good life. There's just something about, when people look at you and go, how do you do this or do that, or how do you get through this or whatever, and I can always point, my faith, it's, it's a choice for me. And my program at school is called Choices. And it's all about, we're defined by the choices we make in our life, and the choices you make about who you surround yourself with, who you worship, who you serve, are the things that are going to define your life. And I hope that, when I'm gone, it's not going to be about, me as how many titles I won in wrestling or what I accomplished in sports or what I did at schools. It's the difference I was able to make in someone else's life through my faith in Christ, how God could use me to help others.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, that's great.
Well, I agree with Chris. The fact that you're not in the Hall of Fame is a huge oversight. I mean, I can't even believe that. And I actually thought about that this past year when I was watching the ceremony. As we kind of introducing folks, I was just thinking, well, why isn't Mark in the Hall of Fame? Yeah. And that certainly is. I mean, that's certainly a part of your life. This book, and again, it's an excellent book, and the folks haven't got it, they need to get it. But you just tapped into it. Talk a little bit more, or if you wouldn't mind, about what do you see your legacy being? Where are you aiming right now to go? Because all the things that you've done in the past are part of that legacy. You've taken those stories of struggle, failure. You've turned them into triumph. You talk resilience, and you're sharing with kids. I mean, is it more of the same, or is there something even beyond that you're trying to get to right now?
Well, luckily the WWE Hall of Fame will never define my life. If I got in, it'd be wonderful, but it's not something that I'm worried about or think about much. The good news is that my managers got in, Jacqueline, who managed me, and Teddy Long, who managed me. They both got in. So who knows? It's one of those things. And if I got in, I really hope it's something like they have like the Warrior Award or something like that shows that what I'm doing outside of wrestling that I bring to it. I mean, I think I bring my belt to every one of my schools, my Intercontinental Championship belt. And I think more people have seen that belt from the thousands of schools I have done than any other wrestler that ever wore that belt, because of all the people that have got to try it on, or the kids all want to, touch it or put it on or whatever. So I think I really was a good representation of the WWE, but it's their choice. It's not something that I worry about. If it happens, great. If not, life goes on, and it's not anything I ever needed.
Yeah. One of the guys that we interviewed this year was Glenn Jacobs, Kane.
Chris, before you tell me the story, he was my first match ever at WWE.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's what I'm getting to here.
That's a plan. What?
Well, I worked against some big guys. I worked against the Undertaker, who was a lot taller than me, and I worked against several guys that were a lot taller than me. But Glenn Jacobs, man, he's right at 6'8", 7 foot, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And you and I are about the same size. You're a lot better looking. You're a lot better shape, and all. But what was it like for you? I know you've been in the business for a while, but what was it like when you crawled into the ring with a guy that size?
Well, Glenn Jacobs is an amazing athlete. He did everything for me. He did all the moves I do, the flying head scissors, the planchas off the top rope. I think I beat him with a sunset flip off the top rope. It's crazy stuff that he was able to do with me as a big man that made me look fantastic. Remember, they chose him for my first match to put me over, to make me look good coming into the WWE. So they chose a guy that could do everything, and he could do everything. And I tell you, I give that guy props. He's an amazing athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, that amazes me that you were able to get up that high to do some of that stuff, because He's a big boy.
big guy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, this question really is not book related. It's about just wrestling today. I mean, the landscape of wrestling has really changed a lot. And I mean, do you still watch? Are you engaged in, with the different companies that are out there now? I mean, how connected are you to what's going on out there?
I'm not as connected as maybe people think I am, but I get to see a lot, like on social media. When you're scrolling, you see things that are happening, and they got highlights of certain things. And I'll check that out, But I haven't seen a full show in years. Yeah. And it's nothing bad, nothing against it or anything like that, but just it's not really on my radar.
Yeah. Well, I am, again, I'm adamant about the fact that a lot of these guys today that are making it big, and they're incredible athletes, there's no doubt about it, but a lot of them, they trace their roots back to you and what you were doing in the ring. Because in so many ways, you were a breakthrough athlete when it came to wrestling. I mean, you elevated the sport. And today, that's kind of commonplace. I mean, I watch some of the stuff like Logan Paul is doing, where he's jumping halfway across the ring and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, how does he do that? But he doesn't do that if you hadn't started back when you were in the ring, because again, no one was going up to the ropes like that. No one was doing those kind of moves. And so, in a lot of ways, I mean, I think these guys owe you a kind of a attaboy slap on the back a little bit. Not too hard, but a slap on the back to say, hey man, thank you. Because again, that too, and I'll ask about legacy, to me, in my mind, that's part of the wrestling legacy you've left. I mean, because you paved the way for that to become commonplace. I mean, that's what makes, so many of these matches, what you want to see at any given time.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Some of the moves they're doing now are absolutely incredible. They've taken what I have done and just gone bigger and better, and it's just the athletes are getting better, and it's just incredible what's happening in professional wrestling.
Well, I think it's because gravity is less now than it was when you started. I think that's what's happening. I think we're in a time of change, so. Chris, I was just thinking while we take a break here in the show.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could go somewhere and shop and get high quality merchandise that would have a lasting impact? Wouldn't that be good?
I think that would be absolutely awesome.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you, because what is your favorite saying?
Don't tap out.
Look at that. How about a don't tap out
smokes.
t-shirt? And look at the logo on the back.
What's on the back? The Clash.
That's one of my favorite shows.
It's on my top list too.
And people could go and buy this from our store. Now you say, how do you get to the store? Well, right now there's a QR code on the screen. They use that QR code, they can go and they can buy, name something, we'll see if they can buy it there. What do you want to buy?
Probably, I want to get a long sleeve hoodie.
You know what? You can get a long sleeve hoodie there.
Really?
Yeah, and you know what else? If you had a baby tomorrow, you could get Clash baby gear at that same store. Yep, you could get that. All this available at the Clash store. So if you haven't been to the Clash store, you're one of the few people in America that hasn't been there yet.
Yeah.
And so check it out. Buy our stuff. It makes us money. It makes us happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the Clash store.
Well, I want to say something to our audience. My dad said a long time ago, he said, son, you can tell the true character of a person by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. And I've always thought of that when I thought of you, Mark, because I remember the very first time, I was a pastor. I was out of wrestling. You didn't know me from Adam's House Cat. And I talked to you about endorsing my book, and you were so gracious, and you did that. But then, I've had the opportunity to go into a school and see you speak to people. I've had the opportunity as a pastor to have you in my church and speak in the church. And the amazing, overwhelming thing that has always touched me about you and about your life is that there's nobody too small for Marc Mero. The lives that you have impacted and touched is just, one day in heaven, I think there's going to be, a lot of folks that come by and say, hey, thank you for giving to the Lord, because my life was changed by you. And I just want to say thank you, Mark, for all the years that I've known you, and been a pain in the butt sometimes calling you and asking favors and stuff like that. But you just always been so absolutely gracious and amazing. And I want to say to our audience, man, if you've got a school that is kind of in turmoil or whatever, you need to have this guy come and speak to your school, because your school will be changed forever, I guarantee you. I just hope that there's going to be some school out there that has Marc Mero that didn't know about it and found out about it because of this show, because when he comes to your school, I guarantee you, great things are going to happen. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm going to let Jeff ask the last question.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to jump on the thank you wagon here for just a minute too, though, because when we started the Clash, again, as Chris already mentioned, you were our first guest, and and it's obvious to all the people who watch us, Chris and I have no idea what we're doing. But as we are sitting here week after week, and now we're well over a year into this thing, and the show has gotten viewers and it's expanded, and the feedback has been great. But when we started, we talked, and at first, we started, what's this going to look like? What are we going to do? And we're still developing ideas. But the idea that came first was the first interview, first show needed to be you. And I had never met you before. And what you said off camera, and there's no reason you would remember, you were just encouraging to us, so gracious, played so well on camera with us that it just kicked us off. And to be honest with you, it made us think we could pull this thing off. Yeah. I mean, now again, I think it's probably more you than us, but you helped. I mean, again, your willingness to give to us. Because, we're saying, come be on a show, be our first guest, but we don't think anybody's going to watch. And all of a sudden, here we are, and people are still watching, and you're back. So, again, I want to thank you as well for just being so patient and kind and generous with your time. Because, most people, most people know, we can tell them, but, our guests don't get paid. I mean, we're just we're borrowing you on an afternoon and just taking up your time when you could be doing a whole lot of other things. And here you are. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
Guys, you are so welcome. You two are just amazing guys, and it's just great to see your show take off the way it has over the time from when I was on to now. It's just doing incredible. And keep up the good work, guys, and have me back again. I'd love to do it again.
Oh, we definitely want to.
Did you write that down?
Okay. Let me take a note here. We have it on tape. What are you talking about? We got it on tape. We're good to go.
And anyone that does want to get encouraged, pick up a copy of my book. It's Bad to Good. You can get it on Amazon.com, and it's a great read. And anyone that's maybe struggling or going through some hard times, check it out, man. It might help you out.
Yeah. Mark, give us your website too, so people can kind of keep up with you, what's going on, social media, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. ThinkPause, which is POZ.org, thinkpause.org. And if you want me to come out to your school, church, corporation, would love to. And just email me through that, and you can get in touch with me. I'm on all the social media platforms, especially if you saw me on this show, let me know you saw me on this show.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that all of our guests have enjoyed this great time with Marc Mero. I hope you go out and get his book, Bad to Good. And I guarantee you it'll change your life. And remember this, don't tap out.